All right. Call hello Yahweh, Bahashem Masek Yahweh Shai. That's all praise to the Most High God. In the name of His only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. It's the brother Rahmaya. And we're going to get into a short lesson today about Christ exemplifying and teaching the law. It's a common teaching in Christianity and even some Hebrew Israelites, which is a sad thing to hear, that Christ did away with the law and you no longer have to keep the law. I don't understand, just as me and the brother was discussing, how you could literally read the Gospels, the so-called Gospels, and believe that Christ taught anything other than to keep the law. It's really out of my mind. It's above my understanding. But we're gonna jump right into the lesson. Anytime I got a precept, just jump in and stuff. But we're gonna start at the book of Matthew, chapter 5 and verse 17.
The book of Matthew, chapter 5, and verse 17. Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill.
Huh. So he literally said he came not to do away with the law. And Christians do something where like they throw like the law ain't bad. It's just kind of up in the air. We don't have to keep it. They play like a word game with him saying that, with him literally saying he didn't come to destroy the law. That would mean that you have to obey the law, right? If he didn't come to destroy it, and it's a good thing, why wouldn't you do it? Ain't it a wise thing to not sleep with your brother's wife? Ain't it a wise thing to not eat pork and give yourself diabetes and whatnot with all these diseases that you can catch from doing these wicked things? But
Like the ad, it says, think not. So don't even think that this is what, don't even, that's an antichrist thought that these people are getting in their head, that you could even think to not have to, you know what I'm saying, that he came to destroy the law of the prophets, because he didn't. So don't even think about that. That's against Christ within itself.
the last part one more time.
Con, this is the book of Matthew, 5, verse 17. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill.
Right now, and a Christian will take that and they will run with it. Well, he fulfilled the law. He fulfilled the law. Well, they don't understand what they're saying. That's got to do with Well, let me just read it. This is the precept right here. This is the book of Luke, chapter 24 and verse 44. And he said unto them, These are the words which I spake unto you while I was yet with you, that all things must be fulfilled, which were written of in the law of Moses and in the prophets and in the Psalms concerning me. So the things concerning him, and he haven't even fulfilled those yet. What's the scripture where he said, Salaki, it's one I'm missing. This he had so fulfilled about his suffering.
In Acts, right quick. I know one. I don't know if it's that one, but I know one in Acts. If you know what I'm talking about, Acts 3 and Acts 3 and let me see, 18. Okay, this is the book of Acts, chapter 3 and verse 18. But those things which God before had showed by the mouth of all his prophets, Aslakia, that Christ should suffer, he has so fulfilled.
The prophecies that Christ was going to come back and basically turn the whole world upside down and put Israel in charge and teach his laws, but that's something for another time. But the point is the things that Christ came to fulfill in his first time coming was the suffering of his suffering for our sins. Go ahead and get verse 18.
Matthew chapter 5. Okay, come. This is the book of Matthew chapter 5 and verse 18. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law.
Come. Salakia. But we can see that today we standing on earth and we can look up and see heaven. If you believe in the Most High, you believe He is where in heaven. You know what I'm saying? So that's just on the common sense level. But let's get it out the scriptures. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 21 and verse 1. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. This has not happened yet. This thing has not taken place. So most Christians who don't understand Revelations think all of Revelation is going to happen in a certain time period. So they already thinking that this ain't came to pass. So if this ain't came to pass yet, who are you to say that you're not supposed to be keeping the law, or to even put it on Christ that He said you ain't supposed to be keeping the law? He literally said to heaven and earth pass. You will say out of your own mouth, this ain't happened yet. One more.
Come,
Kind. Um, this is something that, well, this can be wait. We can wait for the end of this for this. Go ahead. Verse 19.
okay, come, I'm gonna finish up verse 15.
Kind.
Till all be fulfilled. Verse 19. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven.
They don't have to keep the commandments. You're gonna make yourself least in the kingdom of heaven. Also, you cause those brothers and sisters to fall short. But you don't want to be least in the kingdom of heaven, right? You want to be as great as possible. So the best thing going is to be a servant, and to be a servant is to teach your brothers and sisters who they are, and that they need to return to what those laws, statutes, and commandments, which is the same thing Christ was teaching our brothers. Go ahead after verse 20.
Finish 19.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, come. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven.
Whole duty of man. You mind getting that out? Ecclesiastes 12 and 13.
Oh, come. Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man.
That's the way that you demonstrate that you love the Most High, is by keeping these commandments, man. And why wouldn't you want to keep these things? It's wise. This is literally our wisdom to keep the commandments. Example of that is Deuteronomy chapter 6 verse 25. It's also our righteousness, Salaki. And it shall be our righteousness if we observe and to do the commandments of Yahweh, our power, as He has commanded us. Don't verse 21 in Matthew, don't that say something about our righteousness got to exceed the righteousness of the Pharisees, right? Or was that 20?
That's verse 20. Yeah, I didn't get to verse 20. I read 19. You want to
Okay,
go and get it?
go ahead.
All right, this is the book of Matthew, chapter 5, and verse 20. For I say unto you that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, ye shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven.
Has to exceed the righteousness of the Pharisees, which is illustrating that whether you want to believe it or not, the Pharisees had a level of what? Righteousness. Because what? They at least taught the law. You know what I'm saying? They was teaching the law. Um, and when you get Matthew 23, Christ literally was telling us to obey them because they was doing that. Now they was going off in certain areas, and Christ don't touch on that.
Start from the top of Matthew
Con.
23. Okay, come all praises. This is the book of St. Matthew, chapter 23 and verse 1. Then spake Yahushua to the multitude and to his disciples, saying, the scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. All therefore whatsoever they bid you observe, that observe and do.
So Pharisee was wicked. But again, conversation for another time. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. Another version right quick, but
Go
just
ahead.
to look for it. I'm gonna finish this though. That observe and do, but do not ye after their works, for they say and do not. Right.
Go ahead.
Uh,
To lock you for the interruption, family. Go ahead.
It's the book of Matthew, chapter 23. It's the easy translation. I'm gonna start at verse 1. After that, Yahushua spoke to the crowd and to his disciples. He said, the teachers of God's law and the Pharisees have authority to explain the law of Moses.
Let's go ahead. I'll go into it.
It was but you want me to go into it?
Correct.
Oh, what this is showing is that the law of God, the law of Moses, and the law of Christ are all the same because this is a commandment of Christ. That's the law of Christ. It says the law of God, and it says the law of Moses. They're not some kind of different thing. They're the exact same thing. They go hand in hand, right? When we go and finish verse 3. Verse 3. So you must obey everything that they teach you, but you should not do the same things that they do. They tell you what the law of Moses teaches, but then they themselves do not obey it.
So Christ literally just told you, and you really can't escape that translation. Was that the easy?
That's the easy translation.
You really can't translation what it's breaking down to you. The Pharisees teach the law. The Pharisees themselves don't keep the law, but they teach it. But you're not to worry about what they're doing. You're supposed to focus on what they teaching, meaning obey the law. Again, another example of Christ telling you to obey the law. Now, where are some of the areas that the Pharisees was falling short? We're gonna get it right here in the same chapter, Matthew 23 and verse 23. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you pay tithe of mint and ashen and cumin, and have omitted the weightier matters of the law, judgment, mercy, and faith. Faith is in the law. These ought ye to have done, and not leave off the other undone. Meaning you gotta have a balance, and you gotta be doing all of these things, all the law to the best of your ability. Again, Christ telling people to keep the law.
No, that was beautiful. Okay,
Examples of Christ telling people literally to keep the command. If Christ came down here, this is something else I want to go into. If Christ came down here and was literally finna do away with the law, and like probably what was months away from this now, you know what I'm saying, or weeks or days away from these events, then why would he just tell people to keep the law? He should have said, "Don't worry about it, I got it." He should have been walking up telling people who was sinning, "It's on me," the whole time. You know what I'm saying? He should have been doing that. Go ahead.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 8 and verse 1. When he was come down from the mountain, great multitudes followed him. And behold, there came a leper and worshipped him, saying, Lord, if thou wilt, thou canst make me clean. And Yahushua put forth his hand and touched him, saying, I will, be thou clean. And immediately his leprosy was cleansed. Verse 4. And Yahushua said unto him, See thou tell no man, but go thy way, show thyself to the priest, and offer the gift that Moses commanded for a testimony unto them.
So the law is talking about the specific sacrifices that man was supposed to take to the temple and offer in order for him to be cleansed and sanctified. Again, Christ telling people to keep the law, man. You cannot escape it. You can run to Paul if you want to in your confusion because you either not understanding the order of events that really happened, or you just misinterpreting and eisegeting things that Paul said. Paul himself will be telling you to keep the law. You know what I'm saying? But brothers and sisters want to run to Paul over Christ as if Paul died for your sins, man. Go ahead.
Keeping the law of Moses. It's the book of Saint John, chapter 5, and we're gonna start at verse. Let's see. Oh, we start at verse 45. Do not think that I will accuse you to the Father. There is one that accuseth you, even Moses, in whom ye trust. For had ye believed Moses, ye would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if ye believe not his writings, how shall ye believe my words?
If you don't know what Christ talking about, that's a dagger right there, bro. I appreciate that. But in the spirit of John chapter 5, anyway, John 5 and 14.
Come on. Oh, yeah, I'll pray. This is the book of John, St. John chapter 5 and verse 14. Afterwards, Yahushua findeth him in the temple and said unto him, Behold, thou art made whole. Sin no more.
What no more?
Sin no more.
We telling these people not to transgress the law anymore, i.e., keep the law, do the law, obey the law. This is what he's telling people. He just told that person not to sin, but he telling people again to keep the law. Um, St. John 8 and 11. Oh, go ahead, please, Baba Kasha.
Said, Sin no more, lest a worse thing come unto thee.
Don't make the situation worse. Go ahead.
What's that?
8:11.
8 and 11. Okay, all praises. This is the book of St. John, chapter 8 and verse 11. She said, No man, Lord. And Yahushua said unto her, Neither do I. This is the book of St. John, chapter 8 and verse 11. She said, No man, Lord. And Yahushua said unto her, Neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more.
And basically to keep the law, man. How you can get a Christian to say you asking a Christian, should I sin? No, you shouldn't sin. So sin is bad. Yes, sin is bad. So I should not sin. No, you shouldn't sin. What's that mean then? You got to keep the law. You have to keep the. I don't understand. I do not understand it. uh, Go ahead. First Peter. Get there.
Okay, yeah. That's just a beautiful. This is the book of First Peter's chapter 2 and verse 20. Um Salaki, let me get verse 21, 20 or 21. Okay, come, all praise. This is the book of First Peter, chapter 2, and verse 21. For even hereunto were ye called, because Christ also suffered for us, leaving us an example that ye should follow his steps, who did no sin, neither was guile found in his mouth.
Christian. Oh, I'm a follower of Christ. How you following Christ if you ain't keeping the commandments, man? And you ain't telling other folks to keep the commandments. Which go back to Matthew 5 and 20. You're gonna be least in the kingdom because you telling people not to keep the commandments. The Sabbath. Well, we don't do it. No, we do it on Sunday now. God don't care about what you eat, y'all. You lying. You misunderstood, and you leading people down the wrong path, which is gonna have you in a position as least in the kingdom of heaven, man. And you're not following Christ. In fact, in your actions, you are denying Christ.
You still gonna have to taste of that judgment. You're not gonna get out of that judgment. You know what I'm saying? So you might as well go ahead and get it right now because you don't want to taste of that judgment.
uh, he should be teaching to the oracles. Like, can you get that First Peter 4:11?
That was on my mind. That's through the spirit. All praises. This is the book of First Peter chapter 4 and verse 11. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of God.
So when you go into the Greek, the word oracle literally means law, but you also can go to Acts. What's that? Acts 8.
Uh, 7 and 38. But I got another precept that even go with it. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 33 and verse 3. And it says, a man of understanding trusted in the law, and the law is faithful unto him as an oracle.
Basically, oracle equals law. When you take it to Acts, was it 7:38? Con. It's just another example, but you can literally just go into the Greek and see that word oracle uh, means in the New Testament literally means the law. It literally is literally talking about the law. Go ahead.
The book of Acts chapter 7 and verse 38. This is he that was in the church in the wilderness.
Talking about Moses. Go ahead.
With the angel which spake to him in the Mount Sinai, and with our fathers who received the lively oracles to give unto us.
So somebody was, in this case it is Moses. Moses received lively oracles on the mountaintop. What did Moses receive on the mountaintop? The law. So this has to be talking about the law. So the oracles that you should be keeping in your mouth that Peter was that is talking about in First Peter is the law. You should be keeping the law in your mouth all the time. The law brings understanding. But again, the point is, if a man don't speak to the law, to the testimony, or about the law and testimony, ain't no light in him. Keyword, is the light. So did Christ exemplify any light? We're gonna get further that the law equals light, and we're gonna get what they got to do with Christ in just 1 second. Uh, Proverbs chapter 6 and verse 23.
Verse 23. For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light, and reproof of instruction are the way of life.
Literally, also the law is life. We gotta remember that too. But for this lesson right here, we're gonna focus on the light. Literally, the law is light. The commandment, which is the law, is a lamp which gives light, and the law itself is a light. The law is light. The law is the light by which we should be living our lives. We're walking down a path, a narrow path. You know what I'm saying? And it's dark, and the law is how we stay on the path. Um, I got this one of Ecclesiastes. You got something you want to bring out?
I was just gonna bring out a little quick precept in First Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 5. Ye are all children, the children, Salakia, of light, and the children of the day. We are not of the night, nor of darkness.
Children to receive this. We are the children that receive this law, and according to Psalms, that has to be Israel again. Something for another class, but we have this law, man. We got a duty to keep it, live it, and teach it. You know what I'm saying? This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 8, and verse 1. Who is the wise man, and who knoweth the interpretation of the thing? A man's wisdom makes his face to shine, and the boldness of his face shall be changed. So wisdom makes the man face to shine, man. And we're gonna get examples of not only Christ, but the ones who preceded him on this earth, face shining for gaining wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Can we get Exodus 34:29?
Um, 34. Okay, this is the book of Exodus, chapter 34, in verse 29. It says, and it came to pass when Moses came down from Mount Sinai with the two tablets of testimony in Moses' hand, when he came down from the mount, that Moses wist not that the skin of his face shone while he talked with him.
So Moses' face shone with light. You know what I'm saying? His face was shining with light. And going back to Isaiah 8:20, to the law and to the testimony, he came down with his hand the testimony, the tablets of testimony in his hand. He received the law on the mountaintop and came down. And his face did shine. Literally, his face could not have been shining if he did not have the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that come with the law. We're gonna get the same thing happening to Big Bro Christ, man. Matthew 17 and 1.
It's the book of Matthew, chapter 17, and verse 1. It says, and after 6 days, Yahweh shall take Peter, James, and John his brother, and bringeth them up into an high mountain apart. Verse 2. And was transfigured before them, and his face did shine as the sun, and his raiment, Salakia, was white as the light. Verse, Salakia.
Oh, it's some more, Nick?
Oh, verse 3, we're talking about Moses.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, I need that too. I need that too.
And behold, there appeared unto them Moses and Elias talking with him.
So who was up there with him? Moses representing the law, and Elijah, who represents the testimony. These brothers was up there literally with Christ, and they was basically in a cipher discussing things. You know what I'm saying? And it caused Christ's face to shine. But that still meant that the law and testimony was in him, because there would have been no light in him if he didn't have those things. So Christ in every way taught, kept, and exemplified the laws, statutes, and commandments, man. And there's literally no place where you can go to where you can say that Christ didn't teach these things, or that he taught against it. There's no place where you can go where Christ says sinning was okay, or that you don't have to keep the law. You know, he told brothers they was being over righteous, and he told brothers that they was holding uh, traditions above the law, and he was checking people for that. But in no place did he ever say, "Don't worry about that law stuff no more. I got it. It's on me." He never said that. And to the people who believe that, and who you think you're gonna go on and live your life, you got that Matthew. You got something you want to get? Okay, get that Matthew 7:21.
Con, getting the NLT. Okay, all praises. Let me
and live their life. These young brothers don't know what they're talking about. I've been in church my whole 30, 40, 50 years of life, and I've been doing, I ain't been keeping no, I've been eating pork many, many years. I've been going to church on Sunday many, many years. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I messed around with the deacon's wife, but you know, the Lord gonna look over that. Nah, you gotta be keeping these commandments. Go ahead,
Salakia, and that's the thing. They're saying all these things because they don't have no knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Because the law is our knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. So they're saying these things, and they don't have any understanding. That's why they're speaking so ignorantly, right, without understanding, because they don't even know that the true knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is a law within itself. Salakia, but let me get this in Matthew chapter 7, verse 21 through verse 23. I'm getting the NLT. Not everyone who calls out to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven.
So just like right there, man, everybody who going to church and proclaiming to be sanctified and holy, all of them people not gonna make, not even us practicing Israelites, not all of us gonna make it. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Only those who actually do the will of my Father in heaven will enter.
Should have got that. What is it?
You want to get it 40 and 8 in Psalms? Con. Yeah, it's gonna break it down really in this version, but that's good.
What's the will of the Most High? Yea, thy law is within my heart. So that's the law. Wait, just go ahead.
Verse 22 in the keep going in St. Matthew chapter 7, the NLT. On judgment day, many will say to me, Lord, Lord, we prophesied in your name and cast out demons in your name, Salaki. And it's funny because they don't even really know the true name. A lot of these Christians, they don't even know that the most, the son is Yahweh Shai. They calling on Jesus anyway, so they really not even calling on the true name. So it's kind of
in the name of Jesus.
Cause so it's kind of funny. Let me keep reading on. And perform many miracles in your name. Verse 23. But I will reply, I never knew you. Get away from me, you who break God's laws.
Say he never knew you. So the people out here not keeping the commandments who are breaking God's law, he literally gonna say he never knew you. Ain't it in John when he said, he who says he knows him and keep not my commandments is a liar. What's that in First John?
Um, are you thinking about other devil? Wait, oh no, come on, let me get it right quick. That's powerful Slovakia. Let me get that right quick. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. First John chapter 2 and verse verse 3, I believe. Or you want me to start at the top, or you want me to just get to the point?
Get to the point.
Okay, come on.
Hold brothers up.
This is the book of First John chapter 2 and verse 3. And hereby we do know that we know him if we keep his commandments. Verse 4. He that saith, I know him, and keepeth not his commandments, is a liar.
So those people who walk up to Christ and was like, man, we've been doing we've been in your name, we've been doing all these things, bro. I don't know you, man. Your name's not on the list. Get away from me. It's gonna be a sad day for brothers and sisters like that, man, because they literally think they can move on the strength of the name Jesus and basically sin and be a relatively good person and stuff gonna be all right. No, it's not. You literally got to do these works, man. It's faith and works. And this is what Christ taught. The point of this video is to show you that Christ taught to keep the law. Christ exemplified the law. Christ told other people to keep the law. Christ himself kept the law. All right, and if we're gonna make it, man, out of this thing, we too got to do these same things. We got to be Christians, and not in the colloquial sense, those people who are doing the epileptic sea walk in the church Sunday. Not those people, but real followers of Christ. We have to do the things that Christ did and say the things that Christ said. We hope the lesson was edified. We want to say shalom to the brothers and sisters, man. Shalom.